Title: My Hubby Divorced Me for My Sister. Chapter 1: The Betrayal. Nina Matthews had always believed in love. She thought she had found it with Jason, her husband of 5 years. They had met in college, fell in love quickly, and got married soon after graduation. Their love story seemed perfect until the day it all fell apart. Nina had been feeling unwell for weeks, and after a doctor's visit, she discovered she was pregnant. Her heart soared with excitement, imagining the joy of telling Jason they were going to be parents. She never imagined the news would be the beginning of the end. One evening, as she eagerly prepared to share the news with Jason, she sensed something was off. Jason had been distant for months, his affection growing cold, and their once lively conversations had become strained. But Nina had no idea how deep the betrayal ran. That night, when she finally told him she was pregnant, Jason's reaction wasn't what she had hoped for. His face paled, and he couldn't meet her eyes. "Nina, we need to talk," he said, his voice heavy with guilt. "What's wrong?" Nina asked, her heart already breaking at the tone of his voice. I've been seeing someone else," Jason confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. Nina felt as if the world had stopped. "Someone else? What do you mean?" Jason sighed and ran a hand through his hair. "It's your sister, Kayla. I'm in love with her, and we've decided to be together." The words hit Nina like a truck. Her sister. The person she had trusted the most. Her legs wobbled, and she struggled to keep herself upright. Her mind swirled with disbelief, anger, and pain. "You're leaving me, for my sister," she choked, her hand instinctively cradling her still flat belly. Jason couldn't even look at her. "I'm sorry, Nina. I didn't mean for it to happen, but Kayla and we're in love. I'm filing for divorce." Nina's world shattered. In one swift moment, she lost both her husband and her sister. The pain was unbearable, but what hurt the most was Jason's coldness toward the life growing inside her. He didn't care. He had chosen Kayla over her and their unborn child. Chapter 2: A New Beginning. Devastated and heartbroken, Nina signed the divorce papers a few weeks later, officially cutting ties with the man she had once loved. Alone, pregnant, and abandoned by her sister, she didn't know how she would survive. Every day was a struggle to get out of bed, but she had to be strong for the baby. Nina decided to leave town. She couldn't stay in the same place where every corner reminded her of Jason and Kayla's betrayal. She moved to a small town a few hours away, hoping for a fresh start. There, she rented a modest apartment and began working part-time to make ends meet. Her pregnancy progressed, and despite everything, she began to look forward to meeting her child. One day, while grocery shopping, Nina bumped into someone she never expected to see: Ethan Foster, Jason's longtime business rival. Ethan was the CEO of a successful tech company, and his feud with Jason had been well known in their social circles. They had been competitors in business and personal rivals ever since college. Ethan noticed the sadness in Nina's eyes immediately, and despite their shared history through Jason, he felt a pang of sympathy for her. "Nina, are you okay?" he asked, his voice surprisingly gentle. Nina hesitated for a moment, but something about Ethan's genuine concern made her feel safe enough to confide in him. She explained what had happened, how Jason had left her for Kayla, how she was pregnant, and how she was trying to move on. To her surprise, Ethan offered her support. "Jason's a fool," he said, his blue eyes flashing with anger. "He doesn't deserve you or your child." Over the next few weeks, Ethan checked in on Nina regularly. What started as casual encounters turned into deeper conversations, and soon, Nina found herself relying on Ethan in ways she hadn't expected. He helped her with doctor's appointments, brought her groceries, and was always there when she needed a friend. As her pregnancy progressed, Nina began to feel something she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. Ethan was kind, compassionate, and protective. He wasn't just Jason's rival anymore, he had become someone Nina could trust. Chapter 3: Love Reborn. The months flew by, and soon, Nina gave birth to a beautiful baby boy named Leo. Holding him in her arms for the first time, she felt a surge of love and purpose. She was no longer the broken woman Jason had left behind, she was a mother, strong and determined. Ethan was there at the hospital, supporting her through the entire process. He held her hand during labor, stayed with her through the night, and when Leo was born, he looked at the child as if he were his own. The connection between Nina and Ethan deepened, and over time, their friendship blossomed into something more. Despite her initial hesitations, Nina found herself falling for Ethan. He wasn't just a rival to Jason anymore, he was the man who had saved her when she needed it the most. And Ethan, for his part, was falling hard for Nina and her son. He adored Leo and treated him as if he were his biological father. One evening, a few months after Leo's birth, Ethan confessed his feelings to Nina. "I love you, Nina. I've loved you for a long time, and I want to be there for you and Leo for the rest of our lives." Nina's heart raced as she realized that she loved Ethan too. He had been her rock through the darkest time in her life, and now, he was offering her a future filled with love and happiness. With tears in her eyes, she whispered, "I love you too, Ethan." Chapter 4, Jason's Regret. Meanwhile, Jason's life wasn't going as planned. His relationship with Kayla had soured quickly after their affair was exposed. The guilt of betraying Nina weighed heavily on him, and Kayla's constant need for validation became exhausting. They fought often, and Jason realized too late that he had made a terrible mistake. One day, while scrolling through social media, Jason saw a picture of Nina with Ethan and Leo. They looked like a happy family, and for the first time, Jason felt a pang of jealousy and regret. He had thrown away the woman who had loved him unconditionally for a fleeting affair with her sister. And now, Nina had moved on with his greatest rival Ethan. Jason's regret consumed him. He tried to reach out to Nina, but she had blocked his number. He even showed up at her old apartment, only to find that she had moved. Desperate to win her back, he decided to confront Ethan. Chapter 5, Confrontation and Closure. One afternoon, Jason stormed into Ethan's office, demanding to speak with him. "You took everything from me," Jason spat, his face twisted with anger. Ethan remained calm. "No, Jason. You threw everything away. Nina and Leo are mine now, and you have no right to interfere in their lives." Jason's anger faltered as he realized the truth. He had lost Nina because of his own choices, and now, Ethan was the one taking care of her and their son. Later that day, Jason tried to confront Nina, but she stood her ground. "You left me, Jason. You made your choice, and now I've made mine. I'm happy with Ethan, and Leo is too. Please, just let us live in peace." For the first time, Jason saw the strength in Nina's eyes, a strength he had never noticed before. He realized that she didn't need him anymore. She had built a life for herself with Ethan, and it was time for him to let go. Chapter 6, Happily Ever After. Nina and Ethan's relationship continued to flourish, and a year later, they decided to get married. Their wedding was a beautiful celebration of love, resilience, and second chances. Surrounded by their friends, family, and little Leo, they vowed to spend the rest of their lives together. Nina had come a long way from the woman who had been abandoned by her husband and betrayed by her sister. With Ethan by her side, she had not only found love again but had also found the strength to move on from her past. As they danced together at their wedding, Ethan whispered in Nina's ear, "I'll love you forever, Nina. You and Leo are my everything." And as Nina looked into Ethan's eyes, she knew she had finally found her true happily ever after. The end.